Thank you very much. And thank you to The Economist for having me back here. I want to say a particularly warm welcome to the United States for our three friends who traveled so far to be here today, Minister Skrekas, Minister Anastasiou, and Secretary General Mobatis. I will also point out that we did not coordinate our tie color choice today, but that's a good sign of the alignment among us. Um, for me, it's such a pleasure to be here to talk about the importance of the Eastern Mediterranean region, and in particular, the role that this region can play in helping to foster Europe's energy security and accelerate the region's clean energy transition. I'm especially glad to be here because this trip follows shortly on a trip that I made to Europe, to the Baltics, and to Vilnius for the 3C Summit just a couple of weeks ago, where I had the opportunity to talk to President Zelensky, including about the urgent need for assistance to support Ukraine as it deals with the consequences of Russia's brutal and unprovoked invasion and attacks on energy infrastructure. But I was also so glad to be there with Prime Minister Mitsotakis and to hear him highlighting the role that Greece is playing in helping to foster the vision of a vertical corridor, which goes from the Eastern Mediterranean and Aegean all the way north to Ukraine, leveraging this vertical corridor to deliver energy security and clean energy across a much wider region. The Vilnius discussions also reinforced for me the incredibly complicated moment that we are living through in terms of the geopolitics of energy. And I know that I don't have to tell anybody in this room about how Russia's actions have roiled energy markets around the world. But coming on top of that, of course, is the war in Gaza and the humanitarian crisis that has derived from that, and the instability that the Houthis are spreading across the Red Sea and the impact that that is having on the greater Middle East and global energy markets. President Biden, who of course is here in Manhattan this morning, has said on many occasions that energy security is national security. And in this regard, I think it's clearer than ever that global markets are never again going to look at Russia as a reliable energy supplier. And this gap in global supply created by Russia's actions creates an incredibly important opportunity for the Mediterranean region's energy suppliers to help contribute to European energy security and to advance our shared goals of diversification. All of us in this room know how interlinked energy transition is with energy security. And in this regard, I was really delighted this morning to hear both Congressman Pappas and Congressman Lawler's strong emphasis on the 3+1 partnership between Greece, Israel, Cyprus, and the United States. A project that I helped to architect as U.S. Ambassador in Athens, and an effort that the Biden administration continues to very strongly support. One of the facets of this regional energy cooperation, of course, is electricity interconnections in the East Med. There are lots of proposals that are out there in this regard, but I want to underline, most importantly for the United States, is our welcoming of the progress that all of these projects are making to bring a combination of transit between Greece, Israel, and Cyprus in order to accelerate energy transition and also to build energy security. I had a fantastic opportunity this morning to talk with the Cypriot minister about the Great Sea Interconnector and the progress that is being made in that regard. But we also continue to discuss with Greece as well the complementary projects for Gregi and GAP to connect Egypt and Greece. I had a front row seat on many of these projects as U.S. Ambassador in Athens. And one thing that they all hold in common is that they're only going to work with substantial private capital. So the partnership that is reflected in this room today between private capital and government is incredibly important to accomplishing our shared goals. Taken together, these projects can play a critical role in future energy systems by allowing regions like the Eastern Mediterranean with comparative advantage in wind, solar, and other clean energy sources, to export power in times of high production, or to import electricity when needed for grid stabilization. Many of our Arab Gulf partners share these views, and in addition to their own interconnections in the Gulf region, are investing in and supporting the same vision of expanding renewable power and interconnectivity in the Eastern Mediterranean region. But we can't overlook that aside from this clean energy cooperation, there's also a lot that's happening in terms of natural gas. And indeed, cooperation within the region on natural gas has already transformed the energy map of Europe and is producing important geopolitical benefits. There are a lot of leading American companies that are involved in this effort, including Chevron, ExxonMobil, Noble, and already we have our companies involved in helping to bring Israeli gas to Egypt and to Jordan. And since 2019, the United States has participated alongside Egypt, Greece, the Republic of Cyprus, the Palestinian Authority, and others in the East Med Gas Forum that my friend Osama Mubarak leads and we'll talk about later. Egypt also is playing a critical regional role in liquefying and transporting Israeli gas as LNG to Europe. In Greece, I've worked closely with Deputy Foreign Minister Fragionis, who has highlighted the importance of private sector cooperation on regional energy, including Greece's positive economic agenda with Turkey, which reinforces the United States' view that energy should be an avenue for cooperation and not for conflict. I talk to American and global energy companies all the time. And one thing that's clear in every one of those conversations is that the world is going through a generational energy transition, which represents both a tremendous commercial and job creation opportunity, but also a huge systemic challenge. I'm incredibly proud of the work that my embassy team did when I was in Athens on projects like the TAP pipeline, the gas interconnector with Bulgaria, and all of these have proven their worth now as Europe has sought to diversify away from Russian fossil fuel as fast as possible. Similarly, I see tremendous promise for developing the gas resources offshore of Cyprus. And now is the time to make that happen, especially with many of the trusted international oil companies already present across the region with operational gas fields. This commitment to diversifying gas sources and routes creates, I want to emphasize again, a tremendous opportunity for the Eastern Mediterranean to leverage its resources and to help scale both traditional and renewable energy potential. Finally, and here I'll wind up, I just want to say a word or two about the Alexandropoli FSRU that was noted this morning by several of our members of Congress. This project has been near and dear to my heart, and of course came online at the beginning of this year with the first test cargo of LNG that came from American producers here in the United States. This facility is going to play a critical role diversifying energy supplies to countries including Serbia, Bulgaria, North Macedonia, and I fully expect over the longer term, Ukraine, Moldova, which has already taken deliveries through the FSRU in Alexandropoli. There's a tremendous opportunity for Greece, Bulgaria, Romania, Moldova, and Ukraine to work together to build that vertical corridor that I talked about earlier, to get non-Russian gas to European markets that have traditionally depended on it. And finally, I want to underline that the American companies, including those who are present today in this conference, are strongly committed to their involvement in the Eastern Mediterranean region and the goals that I've talked about today. This underscores the leadership that American firms are providing, both in the traditional energy space, where the United States is now the unrivaled global champion of oil and gas exports, but also in renewables, where our Inflation Reduction Act is producing a dramatic and accelerating transformation of how we power our domestic economy, which is going to deliver benefits as well for partners, including partners in the Eastern Mediterranean, like Greece, Israel, and Cyprus. So the United States is committed to this region. We're committed to the 3+1. And most importantly, we're committed to partnership. And in that regard, I'm incredibly proud of the work that we have already done, but also incredibly excited about the opportunities that lie ahead. Thank you very much.